What is up, YouTube? How you guys doing this morning? I wanted to make this video this morning because it's just easier for me to make this video on this topic than it is for me to type back and forth for 12 hours straight arguing with people on X about it. Because I did make a post yesterday about this situation on X, and it got quite a response. And I've been doing these college football videos and live streams and all this stuff, call-in shows, thousands of them since 2017, talking about college football. And it never ceases to amaze me how many fans, if you have an opinion on anything that involves their team and not your own, then, you must just hate my team. You're not allowed to have an opinion on anything except for Clemson, Pete, because you're a Clemson guy. Well, no, that's not the way things work. I have opinions on everything involving college football. And no, I don't hate Notre Dame. I don't hate Miami. I could care less about either team. It has nothing to do with those two teams. As a matter of fact, you could, in this particular situation, you can plug any two teams in the country in there, and I'd feel the same way. As a matter of fact, I'd feel the same way if the roles were reversed. Had Notre Dame, just flip it. If Notre Dame beat Miami earlier in the year, in week 1, and they were ranked behind Miami and they had the same record, I would be saying the same thing about Notre Dame should be ranked ahead of Miami. It's not the two teams; it's the situation. I did have a guy call into my call-in show last night, a Notre Dame fan. Shout out to him, and at least he called and had a debate with me about this instead of saying, "Oh, you just hate my team. You're rent free, Pete. Yeah, Notre Dame lives rent free in your head, Pete." Yeah, no. I don't agree with the way that the playoff committee ranks teams. When you start talking about all these metrics, strength of schedule, strength of record, game control, blah blah blah. I mean, there's 20 different bullet points you could that they use, or they say that they use, to make these rankings. Those should only come into play when you have two Power 4 teams with the same record and they played each other. You need to go no further than that. One team beat the other. They had the same record. They both play a power schedule. End of discussion. And I'm not even saying, and I never have said, that I don't think that Notre Dame is worthy of a top 10 ranking. I think that they probably are. I think they're one of the best 10 teams in the country. They might be the best team in the country. I don't know. We'll have to go through the playoff to find that out. But my argument is, if they are worthy of a top 10 ranking, then so is Miami. Either Miami needs to be moved up closer to Notre Dame, or Notre Dame needs to be moved back a little bit closer to Miami. That gap between them, there's really no excuse for when the two teams played each other. If you have a situation, here's a good example. Notre Dame and Alabama. Alabama is ranked one spot behind Notre Dame at 10. Notre Dame's at 9, Alabama's at 10. Well, that's when you start using all these metrics that you're talking about, because you have two power teams, Alabama and Notre Dame, who have the same record. They both have 2 losses, but they haven't played each other. So we have no way of knowing who would beat who because we haven't seen them play each other. So then you have to start going, okay, well, they've got the same record, but they haven't played each other, so we don't know who would win on the field. So now we start looking at all these other metrics, strength of record, strength of schedule, and all this other stuff. That's when that should come into play, not when these two teams have met on the field. Indiana is a perfect example of this. Indiana has taken the approach, and they even were, Signetti was upfront about it, and they're taking these tough games off their schedule because you don't benefit from winning them. Miami's got zero benefit for beating Notre Dame week 1, apparently. So they should have just scheduled a nobody and went out there and beat him 100-0. They, no chance of losing the game, and they probably have a higher ranking right now because of all those other metrics. Well, they controlled this game. They won by 60 points, so let's put them higher. So the way that they're ranking these teams is actually hurting the sport, because again, what you're going to see is less and less teams go out there and schedule these big boys, because they just want to make the metrics. They want to win by 50 points to make their metrics look better. Also, I guarantee 110% that if the roles were reversed here, if Notre Dame had beat Miami week 1, and here we are in week 13, and they both have 2 losses, and Miami was ranked ahead of Notre Dame, what do you think the Notre Dame fans would be saying? They'd be going, this is crazy. We've got the same record as them, and we beat them. I mean, that's all you really need to look at. And so I posed a hypothetical question yesterday. Southern Cal plays Oregon this week. Now, Notre Dame has already beat Southern Cal head-to-head. They both had the same record. Southern Cal has 2 losses. Notre Dame has 2 losses. So let's say that Southern Cal goes into Eugene this week and beats Oregon. Should they jump Notre Dame in the rankings? I mean, to me, it's a fair question, because Southern Cal, if they beat Oregon, would have a better win than anything that Notre Dame has. Notre Dame's best win is Southern Cal. If Southern Cal beats Oregon, that's a win on the road against what the committee says is currently a top 7 team in the country. So it's perfectly justifiable that if they beat Oregon, that they could jump Notre Dame. Now, to me, they shouldn't be able to. The same reason I don't think that Notre Dame should be able to jump Miami or have a higher ranking than Miami right now, because head-to-head has to matter. It should matter. This is the only sport, college football is the only sport in the world where we do this dumb shit. Now, I understand that it's because there's 130-something teams and it's not all neat and tidy like the NFL is. I understand all that. But in no other sport in the world are they going, I mean, the only 2 things that matter are your record and who you beat. That's it. Again, if you're trying to break a tie between 2 teams that haven't played each other, I understand bringing in other metrics and all that. Like, if you've got 3 top 10 wins, and you have the same record as somebody else, but you haven't played each other, and you have 3 top 10 wins and they don't have any ranked wins at all, then yeah, you put them ahead of them. Georgia was ranked ahead of Alabama all the way up until Alabama and Georgia played each other. Alabama beat Georgia, so what happened? Alabama jumped Georgia in the rankings, as they should. Same thing with Oklahoma and Alabama. Alabama was ranked ahead of Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Alabama last week head-to-head. They jumped ahead of Alabama. So it's not like this is not already happening throughout college football. It just seems for some reason that they're turning a blind eye to it when it comes to the Notre Dame and Miami situation. And I know what people are going to tell me. They got 2. They lost to 2 unranked teams. Yeah, well, wins head-to-head matter more than who you lose. This is my bigger problem with the sport as well. We're giving less and less value to win, and more value to quality losses. You know, had they lost, let's say Miami had lost 2 games, but one of them was to a ranked team, a top 15 team. Does that make a difference to you? Really? No, it doesn't. I mean, virtually every team is going to lose at least 1 or 2 games. I mean, very rarely do teams go 12-0 in the regular season. I mean, the chances are, no matter how good your team is, you might be the best team in the country, you might win a national title. Chances are you're going to drop 1 or 2 games here or there. So focusing on losses instead of wins is part of the problem. I don't need to look any further than I've seen the 2 teams play, and that the result of that game, whether it's in week 1 or week 10, doesn't matter to me. Winning matters. You should be punished if you lose a game head-to-head to somebody. Period. Now, that doesn't even mean if Notre Dame and Miami played tomorrow, Notre Dame might win that game. But that's not the point. There's repercussions for losing to a team head-to-head when it comes to rankings. Now, if Miami had 3 losses, okay, well, they've got 1 more loss, so that's in Notre Dame's favor. But they don't. They got the same record as Notre Dame, and they beat them head-to-head. That's all that matters. So my problem is not, it's not me not understanding what the committee is doing. It's me disagreeing with it. And eventually what's going to happen for all the people that are stumping for Notre Dame and defending Notre Dame in this situation, eventually it's going to happen to you. Eventually you're going to have the same record as somebody that you beat, and they're going to rank that team ahead of you. And then we're going to see how quickly your mind changes on this subject, because you're going to be the one looking through the rearview mirror and not in the driver's seat. So that's it. I'm sure you guys will let me know below where I'm wrong here. I mean, you're not going to change my mind on my opinion on the problems with the playoff committee. That's not going to happen. I mean, you can try to justify it all you want, but we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this one. I don't like the way it is. And again, has nothing to do with the two teams involved. It just has to do with the situation that bothers me. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys later.